Tonight, Ronald gets stuck in an elevator. I get a little thirsty, and Jimmy Ray sits on a bench. Welcome, thank you very much, and welcome. Tonight, we'd like to talk to you about capital ships. They're all the youngsters like to talk about these days. With their enormous guns, massive hulls, and powerful engines, capitals give you the capability to do anything you want, like getting from Area 18 to Microtech in the blink of an eye, so you can spend more time at home, increasing the likelihood your children don't grow up to be glue sniffers.
That's right, capitals. Been somewhat of a four-letter word around these parts, given how long we've been waiting for one. Whether it's the Drake Kraken or the Aegis Idris or even the ballyhooed Banu Merchantman, they're all more a commercial machine for selling JPEGs, it seems. Well, that's all about to change with what we're about to show you. Now you may be thinking, that's just a bedroom wall pin-up poster with a touch of the madness you saw earlier this year at Invictus. But in actuality, that's the real thing.
And that brings us to the RSI Polaris. It is the hottest, hardest, biggest Dorito of them all. And the most exotic. It has the fattest back end I've ever seen on a spaceship. It has planet-sized guns in the front for obliterating your enemies. 2 cargo ramp doors that open like pterodactyl wings, and they say the hole in the roof is big enough that you can put an entire salvager inside. More on that later. Just look at it. Looks like a massively overgrown tortilla chip with a case of the chicken pox. They say its roof has some sort of electric force field. So I guess if you crash the thing and turn it over, there will be a blinding flash of light and then you'll have a convertible. Lastly, you see there is this brig sort of thing, a space prison of sorts, for when your co-workers get a little frisky. And if you're not careful, you can lock yourself inside. I certainly don't like the people who drive RSI ships, more of a Drake man. I find Robert's ships flawed and disgusting. But I will grudgingly admit that those new Zeus models are extremely lovely to fly. Straight away, there are some issues with this ship. To give owners a sense they're commanding a capital ship, all the storage bins have been removed from the cockpit, so there's no cubby hole here, no glove box there, nowhere to put your crews and burritos. And I think those wanting to use this for bunker runs, cargo hauls, or as your daily driver, well, it might drive you a bit mad. And then there are the beds. The Polaris crew size is 12. There isn't going to be any dirty dozen with that sort of accommodation. But all of these bits you probably already know, like how you're going to need a large army to run the damn thing, and how resupplying all those torpedoes is going to cost you more than that Legatus package I've had my eye on in the pledge store. We here at Stargear, this pokey spaceship show, well, we are here to give you more than just the sights and sounds, more than the proverbial speeds and feeds that you might otherwise find at some tomato stand or in some salty diner. No, here at Stargear we mean to provide real, helpful consumer advice for existing or soon-to-be owners of the Space Dorito extraordinaire. To ensure you, the consumer, are given the most thorough and exhaustive analysis of the Polaris possible, we have come to Microtech. We've heard many citizens asking what might fit in this space. In our first analysis, we are aiming to test the clearance height of the Polaris's cargo hold. To determine this, we have placed Jimmy Ray in the middle of the ship. In this test, we want to see if there is enough room for Ronald in his Cyclone RC to jump over Jimmy Ray.
Hello, viewers. I'm standing in the middle of the Polaris's cargo hold, a massive mix of metal and engineering that is capable of holding 576 storage capacity units. That's enough to hold more than 24 Grey Cat Sport terrain vehicles. My part in this colossal shenanigan, that my counterparts have cooked up, mind you, is to stand here and see if Ronald Hamster can gain enough speed to launch his Tumbril Cyclone RC up the ramp, over my head, and through the other side of the Polaris. Idiots.
Ronald has lowered both pterodactyl wings and opened the cargo deck of the Polaris, and now sits 150 meters down the road in the latest racing variant from Tumbril, the Cyclone RC. Powered by a spool of rice grinders and Uncle Ben's favorite blend, the top speed of the Cyclone RC is 212 miles per hour. Let's hope he is fast enough.
All right, I'm not sure what might be powering this thing. Maybe some twin-turbo V12 or something made specially for it by Waytech, which once quantum is applied, makes 730 brake horsepower. And what you probably want to hear and see is what that does when I press down on my right foot. We're travelling into space.
Jimmy Ray, are you ready? Ronald, 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh my god, I'm in a monster!
Oh, crikey.
Well, there you go, viewers. Rarely on this program do things go right or as planned, or without one of our presenters, usually Hamster, ending up in the hospital. And while I was not so secretly hoping for an untimely Jimmy Ray death scene, the BBC would most likely fire us all for such an incident. I therefore regrettably inform you that, yes indeed, there is just enough clearance in the cargo hold of a Polaris for a Tumbril RC to jump over a 5'11" old man who regularly forgets to tie his shoes. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is Star Gear's stellar and solid consumer advice you can only get here.
While I'm stuck here in this elevator, I might as well tell you about our second test, where Jimmy Ray and JimBob have moved the Polaris from the lush green fields and forests on the far side of Microtech to the frozen tundra lake outside of New Babbage.
That's right, Ronald. I've parked my overblown isosceles triangle on this bed of ice cubes to see just how large and useful the Polaris's spaceship hangar really is. We've heard rumors from across the spectrum that it's so large. Creative pilots channeling their inner Tom Cruise can fit the Verse's best salvage ship inside. Top officials at the Stargear's offices have scoffed at the idea, but we earnest, courageous, and all the while ignorant presenters have decided to charge on, determined to bring you, the viewer, the honest and unvarnished truth.
And I am the truth bearer. Hello from above the frozen lake on Microtech, aboard the AEGIS Reclaimer. This hairy beast of a ship is technically taller and wider than the Polaris, and while the scientist in me questions the validity that we will fit in the Polaris's hangar, I press on because if I don't, the other two will fire me. The Reclaimer, known by little girls named Ripley as the Nostromo, is the go-to salvage ship in the universe amongst industrial introverts that still live with their parents. And it smells like 100-day-old mouldy cheese and squeaks twice as much. Right now, the power of gravity, more so than its gerbil-powered engines, is taking us down towards JimBob and his prized Polaris. God, I hope this kills him. Some say this salvage behemoth will fit. I guess it's like Van Halen says, let's push it in, the harder the better, until we are black and blue.
It is an epic occasion, people of the universe, where science gives us a brand new discovery. No doubt our patented and battle-tested research will soon be published by the Roberts Institute of Missed Release Dates. It's a proud moment for our program, held together only by duct tape and chicken fence. Yes, much to the astonishment of the scientific communities around the world, the Verse's best salvager does indeed fit inside the Polaris. The folks at the Roberts shops and their mums must be proud. The epic Dorito sandwich is even powerful enough to take off with the Reclaimer still mostly inside. Amazing. I think I have a tear in my eye. So, ladies and gentlemen, we must admit that the Stargear Group stands surprised at the results so far. The Polaris is proving itself to be quite the capable cargo Olympic gold medalist after all.
Speaking of the Roberts Space Institute of Missed Release Dates, I'm sure you're aware of the news that the first release of Pyro will be missing many of its features, such as the transit refactor, charge and drain, engineering and firefighting. We here at Stargear were going to hold a funeral and sulk away our tears with beers and crisps, but Mr. Wonka, who signs our checks, told us to suck it up buttercups and get a move on. So we did. And now we are here to help you, the viewers and players, prepare you for the eventual, hopefully sometime before Jimmy Ray is dead, release of engineering and firefighting. These are indeed huge changes to the verse and will require epic levels of preparation, coordination and determination.
To properly prepare you for engineering and firefighting, we have stepped back aboard the RSI Pew Pew Boom and Bang machine, which has more engineering bits and bobs than Star Citizen has bugs. I'm not sure that made sense, but let's move on. Firefighting and engineering. Because these features are not in at the moment, our team of creative geniuses have come up with a solution to test them using the materials at our disposal. I'm sure the elegance of our solution will baffle most human minds, or at least a copion or two. You see, Jimmy Ray and Ronald will both be acting as double agents, co-pilot gunners, and part-time engineers. We figure most of you don't actually have many friends, and with no real or artificial intelligence around, it's most likely you will be operating your Polaris with a skeleton crew. To start the test, we're going to simulate a fire somewhere aboard the Polaris. Somewhere, fellow crew members Tony Z and Betty Sue are lost, potentially consumed by the fire. The first thing these two emergency techs will need to do is navigate the massive maze of corridors, hallways, elevators, and ladders inside the Polaris, and find their way to the engineering stations. You see, in 2954, while we have faster-than-light space travel, the more complex technologies such as key fobs, smartwatches that actually tell time and communicate with our phones, and monitors that display helpful information on our ships. Well, all that stuff has yet to be invented. With Jimmy Ray sitting at the co-pilot's chair and Ronald manning one of the gunner seats on the bridge, the proverbial fire alarm goes off. Up, out of their chairs like deer in headlights, these two are off to the rescue.
Left or right? Damn these directions.
Where's that damn engineering station?
Finally, at the engineering station, Jimmy Ray learns that Tony Z has fallen victim to fire in the brig. And Ronald, well, he's going to make his way down into the engineering section, where Betty Sue has fallen down a ladder and is melting like the Terminator. I sure hope Betty Sue and Tony Z copied their imprint to one of the 4 med beds found in the Polaris. As such, our 2 heroes are on their way to save the day. I've never been much of a cheerleader, especially for these 2 idiots. It's really the service for the people that spurs me on. To simulate the use of a fire extinguisher, since those features aren't working yet either, we've placed bottles of Garcia's red strawberry smoothie juice in their stead. Our wannabe heroes, having found and now standing over their dead comrades, down some strawberry drink in their honor, pretending to care for their charred carcasses and burnt body bits. Oh, what a sweet moment this is. And so there you have it, ladies, and mostly beta-sensitive men. If you can make your way through the hallways of the Polaris fast enough, you just might make it in time to toast your friends as they burn in hell. So to sum up, We hope CIG decides to put an engineering station somewhere near the bridge of the Polaris before engineering comes out. That way Betty Sue's and Tony Z's glue-sniffing children won't have to die like their parents. Well, folks, there you have it. The RSI Polaris, brought to you by the amazing team here at Stargear. I'm sure that you are as pleasantly surprised as we are to learn just how incredible this new capital ship is. It's proven to be the best salvage hauler and ship carrier in the verse. This Frito-Lay special of a capital ship really has exonerated itself, hasn't it? Hell, it's even saved the life of a deranged old man from an annoying rodent-like teenager with incredibly sharp white teeth.
Now hold on, that's the last I'll hear about my white teeth.
Yes, worried about your teeth, are you, Ronald? And not about being called a rodent. Remember, folks, the truth really does hurt now, doesn't it? And with that, we have come to the end of our program for this week. But before we go, there's a little something special we've prepared, and you're not going to want to miss this. Welcome all to the Stargear showroom floor, where we have assembled the latest and greatest from MISC, RSI, Anvil, Crusader, and Argo. Our team at Stargear have been given a sneak peek at all these beauties hitting showroom floors near you next week at IAE 2954. In the middle, we have the space banana from MISC. I think they call it the Starlancer MAX or something. Its humpback whale shape and Cyclops-style visor window are interesting design choices by MISC. It does, however, come in an Aerobus chrome flavor that I like a lot better than this banana blue raspberry popsicle version we have here. At the edges of our hangar are the makings of our own hornet's nest, because of course, we need more of these ships in the verse. This one tracks something like Strider from Lord of the Rings, and the other is a Halloween ghost or goblin. I can't keep them all straight.
Viewers, I am your more sensible host with more knowledge of these ships than the other two combined. And don't mind the big ape over there. The MAX is a superb all-arounder with excellent storage capacity for hauling missions, and is quite well equipped if you get in a fight as well. It won't win any races, but keep an eye on this ship. It will be in the Ship of the Year contest next year, I'm sure. More importantly, I wanted to focus your attention over here to the soon-to-be-available Anvil Terrapin Medic. It
looks like a damn red snapping turtle, and probably swims better than it flies.
Shut up, you big oaf. Now back to what I was saying. The medical Terrapin has a size 2 medbed and is capable of withstanding just about any beating you can give it. Designed for the daring combat medic, this ship is the go-to, heavily protected ambulance in the verse. But beware, it might take a few paychecks before you can afford one.
Hey! Hey! Can anyone get me out of here? JimBob Jackson, did you lock me in here?
Ronald has somehow managed to find himself locked inside one of the Han Solo special smuggling stations aboard the new Crusader Intrepid. I can't think of a better outcome. I think we'll leave him there for now.
Trust me to keep it real with you all. It is truly a special time for our community, for all our citizens. With the Pyro system on our horizon and all of these wonderful ships at our fingertips. And boy George, we haven't even mentioned the Argo CSV over there. Or this sublime RSI Zeus in sunburst orange. Ain't she a beauty? That thing has easily become my favorite ship to fly these days. Yes, captains. Ship production at the J. Crew ship facilities have increased productivity more than 3 times last year. And the countless quality of life features we've seen in the last 12 months has made 2024 indeed a superb year for Star Citizen.
Oh, good Lord. Very good, and glad to see someone finally let you out of that ship there, hamster. Now hold on. Even I can be serious for just a moment. As we all stand here, Class 2 ratings in hand, fitted inside these wonderful Argo Atlas loaders, the question, where do you want it, comes to mind. And where we want it, well, it's in our wallets, handbags, piggy banks and mattresses. because we're all going to need it, and a lot of it given all these wonderful ships. Making out like college students we all seem to be. Because, if we're honest, we are all a bit spaceship beggars, aren't we? I'd use a different word there, but these algorithms and all you know. What I mean is, God damn it, I want them all. These ships then, well, they are more than the sum of their parts. They excite us because they push the boundaries. They push into believing in something others said can't be done. And that brings us back to the RSI Polaris. The caveman of our ancestry did not put out the fire because it was too hot. No, they didn't. They used it to better themselves. And that's what these ships, especially this one, does for all of us.
As we leave you here tonight, I'm left with the idea that there might just be some people watching right now who could actually afford one of these things. And it's the job of you, me, and everybody else watching to stand around and join together in a chorus and chant, "Do it! Do it! Do it!"
And on that bombshell, we must say good night. Thanks for watching. The script here says I'm to ask you to like and subscribe to something or other. I'm not sure I know what that means, or what the hell. Look, if you like our sort of nonsense, and perhaps would like to see more of it, well, then tell us. Simple enough, and if you don't, well then piss off.